Follow me on a journey where no one has ever been before. Listen to TheCaliEffect.
Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of TheCaliEffect. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to play Cosmic Dragon, also known as Zing, also known as however many cards, your Comet, or however many names they've been having throughout their existence. Zings are a very interesting deck. And why do I say interesting? Well, because first and foremost, they introduce our new type of monsters, which are called worms. No, not the worms you guys see digging in the ground, or the worms you guys see from the hidden arsenal, but worms, which are, I guess you could take them as the ascension of a dragon, a phantom-like dragon with beast-like categories, and that's, I guess, what you want to call worms. But Zings are a very interesting type, focusing on not only being worms, but being floater type monsters. Floater is a term when cards are destroyed by battle, or either by battle or card effect. They essentially replace themselves from either a card from your deck, graveyard, or hand. These Zing monsters seem to replace themselves from the deck to the side of the field. And also, when they're used as synchro summons, they get some special type of effects. These cards are very interesting, so let's get back into it, or let's get into it. First, we're going to be starting off with Pojo, Wind of Zing. Now, Pojo, Wind of Zing is a wind, level 1, worm type monster, 0 attack, 1800 defense. When this card is used for a synchro summon, the monster that's synchro summoned with is unaffected by spell cards. Also, when Pojo is destroyed by battle or card effect, it gets to replace itself with a different Zing monster to the side of the field. There's one more thing I actually forgot to mention about Zings, is that during your opponent's turn, on their main phase or battle phase, you can actually synchro summoning by using their effects. This is a quick effect for Zing, so skill drain does ultimately affect them. The next Zing monster I want to talk about is Bixie. Now, Bixie is probably one of the best Zing monsters in the deck. Why? Let's just get down to its effects. Bixie is a level 2 water type monster with 0 attack and 2000 defense. But when it's used as a synchro summon, the monster summoned is unaffected by traps. Now, that's pretty good, especially with some of the combos that we will be running into the deck. When Bixie is destroyed by battle or card effect, yes, you get to special summon another Zing monster from your deck. After that will be Bayan. Now, Bayan is where we start to get into the stronger Zings. It's a level 3 earth monster with 1600 attack, 0 defense. When Bayan is used for an synchro material, the monster cannot be destroyed by battle. First monster unaffected by spells, second monster unaffected by traps. Why is this one significantly weaker? Well, there's a couple of reasons why Konami decided to make Bayan weaker in effect-wise than Pojo and Bixie. Bayan has stronger attack, it's an earth monster, and it couples really well with a couple of other cards we will be playing into the deck. So I believe that's why Konami made it, I don't want to say a bad effect, because it's still pretty good, but not as great as effect as Pojo and Bixie. But Bayan nonetheless still can make some really good plays to make some of your monsters undestroyable by battle. And people tend to forget that when monsters can't be destroyed by battle and they're big monsters, it's kind of hard to get over them. Next, we're going to be talking about Sani. Sani is the strongest of all of the based Zing monsters that you can place into your deck. It's 4 stars, fire, 1900 body, screams, I am a blaster of the deck. It's 0 defense, screams, I'm a mass chameleon target. But other than that, when Sani uses a synchro summon, the monster that's used, or the monster that is summoned, gains 500 attack. That is actually amazing. People tend to underestimate it because they're like, oh, it's just 500 attack. But 500 attack can go a long way. An Armatus with 2800 attack is definitely a lot more terrorizing than an Armatus with 2300 attack. So Sani does actually have a pretty good effect. It's just, compared to the other 3, no. And now we can get into our tuner in the TCG. Our tuner would be Chaiwin, Light of the Zing. Chaiwin and Light of the Zing is a little different. Yes, when he's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a Zing, but if one of your Zing monsters are destroyed, you can special summon Chaiwin from your graveyard. No, you guys don't like that? That's all I really can say. When it's used by that effect, it's banished, which, I guess isn't that bad, but just the ability to be able to, hey, you destroy one of my Zing monsters, I'm going to special summon this Zing monster because you destroyed that Zing monster. Chaiwin is a really good Zing monster, I have to give it that, and it is our tuner, so when our opponent does destroy our Zing monsters, Chaiwin gets a special summon to our side of the field, and that's pretty good. Now, on to the TCG monsters. We're going to be talking about Toiti, Blah. Okay, it's the evil Yang Zing, okay? And it actually would be the strongest Yang Zing monster if we did play it, or if we could have played it in the TCG right now. It has the same specifications. When it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you have to control it, obviously. And during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can synchro summon with it. That's just pretty good. I mean, nothing else. But it does have even a weaker effect. The weaker effect of Toadi is that when it's used as a synchro summon, the monster cannot be switched. Well, that's not really great, but it's pretty good actually. It's gonna come in a lot of use later on, but that's okay. And it's level 5, so it's not really it's okay. But I'm pretty sure Toadi will find a lot of room into the deck. Next would be Jayatu. Now, Jayatu is a very interesting Yang Zing. I actually think he's a really good one. Its effect reads, if you control no other monsters, you can send 2 Yang Zing cards from your hand to the graveyard to special summon 1 Yang Zing monster with 0 attack and 1 Yang Zing monster with 0 defense from your deck to the field, but they're banished during the end phase. No, that's not good. Jayatu's not good. I think he's really going to be able to speed up the deck with him being a level 2 tuner, still having the same aspects of still having the same aspects of CHAMELEON. When he's destroyed by battle, you get to special summon him. When he's destroyed by a card effect, you get to special summon something else. But instead of being able to special summon himself, he brings out other Yang Zing monsters to the field. So I think that's going to be an extremely good thing. Our TCG Yang Zing Synchro monster is Boxia Brightness of Yang Zing. And when this card is synchro summoned, you can target cards on the field up to the number of different attributes of worm monsters used for the synchro summon of this card. Shuffle them into the deck. My god, that card's really, really good. A synchro summonable tiramisu that I can play on my opponent's turn, but it's not done. Once per turn, you can target 1 card you control and 1 level 4 monster in your graveyard. Destroy that card. And if you do, special summon the other monster from the graveyard. Oh my god. I promise you one thing and one thing only. More often than not, when you summon Boxia, you win the game. Because first and foremost, you're tiramisuing at least 3 cards, which the 3 cards, or the 3 monsters that would use to summon him would have been Chaiwin, Sani, and Bayan. So he'd be 2800 attack, undestructible battle, and we get to bounce 3 cards to our opponent's field to the deck. Next, we get to destroy, you know, any of our back row cards, or any of our Yang Zing monsters, and then special summon a Yang Zing monster. And then if we destroy the Yang Zing monster, guess what? We get to activate that Yang Zing monster's effect, because it's an and if you do effect. Boxia is amazing in this deck. Boxia, obviously, it's a Yang Zing monster, so of course it would be really good in this deck. I think that when more often than not, like I said, when you summon Boxia, you completely win the game. The TCG, the OCG Yang Zing monster is a card that I'd love to have, because this deck hits for 7 so easily. Is Yazi, Weakness of the Yang Zing. Now, Yazi, Weakness of the Yang Zing is actually a little different than Boxia, because Boxia requires a freaking worm. It requires worm type monsters as material. Yazi doesn't require any type of material, which means it's very generic. First and foremost, my opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Then it's like a scrap dragon. I can target 1 Yang Zing monster I control and 1 card my opponent controls and destroy them. Thank you. More Yang Zing's effects. Not only that, when this card I control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, I can special summon a worm type monster from my deck in defense position. This card is just really good. It's a nice level 7 worm monster that really helps the deck, give it that extra push that it needs. Now you guys know all about the Yang Zing monsters. There actually is one thing I want to tell you, and a little bit of trivia. First and foremost, Paolo, Bixie, Bayan, and Sani. If you guys haven't paid attention, they go 1, 2, 3, and 4. They go up, and then Toadi is 5, so they go up in an ascending order. We can assume if we do get a light Yang Zing monster, it would be level 6, and it would be an ascending order monster. I mean, it'd be obvious. It'll have some weird effect, maybe unaffected by monster effects when we use monster as a synchro summon, which would just be, it'd just be really good for Yang Zings. Secondly, a big thing that I want to talk to you about Yang Zings. When they're destroyed by battle, the monsters, their effects special summon monsters in certain positions. This is the best way to determine the position. If the monster, whatever monster has the stat in of 0, such as Pojo having a 0 attack stat and Bixie having a 0 attack stat, that's the position that the monster is special summoned. Bayan and Sani, they have 0 defense stats, so that's the position that the monster is summoned. So Chaiwin is 0 attack and 0 defense. Guess what? It special summons no matter what position, any position you want it to. But now since we've done the monsters and the synchros, we can get to the spells and traps. There's only really 2 really good spells and traps that I want to talk about. The first is a spell called Yang Zing Path. Now, Yang Zing Path is a pot of avarice for us. We select 3 Yang Zing monsters from our deck, put it to from our graveyard, put it to the deck, and draw 2 cards. That essentially replenishes our deck, gives us resources, put Yang Zings that we've cycled through back into the deck, and allows us to make even more plays. The second is Yang Zing Creation. Yang Zing Creation states that when any of our monsters are destroyed and sent to the graveyard, we get to special summon a Yang Zing monster from our deck to the side of the field. Whoa, that actually really helps the deck and fuels it to whatever we want to go to. We can couple these cards with a lot of things that just make it really, really good, such as Masked Chameleon. Masked Chameleon actually has 2 different targets. It has Sani and Bayan as targets, but it gets to special summon them to the side of the field and allow us for a quick synchro summon, like Junk Synchron. And while we're talking about it, we could use Junk Synchron in this deck because Bixie and Pojo are targets for Junk Synchron. When we synchro summon into a 5 or 4, it can be unaffected by spells and traps. This deck just gets really, really good. Keep in mind that we can make Unbreakable Leo, Unbreakable Star Eater, a really, really strong Stardust Dragon for no reason, and we have instant access to Crimson Blader that just has so many other great effects to it that it'll be able to dominate the opponent. I feel like Yang Zings are what I call them, master race, because they have so many options and their ability to create so many type of monsters that put your opponent in positions that they can't get rid of is just fun to any deck. Of course, we're going to be using cards like Supply Squad because how I want to run Yang Zing is to the best of our ability. When we play regular players or people at our local level, not on Devpro because it's a different story. But when we play people in real life, they know what we play. So saying that they know that we play Yang Zing, they're less prone to attacking us. That's all bad. How do we solve that problem? Archfiend and Nefarious, however you say this card's name. During the end phase, it destroys one of our Yang Zing monsters and then special summons herself. That plus Creation, plus a Yang Zing, plus Supply Squad. Man, this is just a lot of advantage that we can do. I'm going to be extremely excited to play this deck with you guys, especially with, oh my god, Skill Drain works with this deck so well. Just give me a second, The Yang Zing monsters, when they're used as synchro materials, they're no longer face up on the field. Not only that, the monster gains the effect. It gains the effect through the card. It doesn't necessarily get the effect. So if Skill Drain is face up on the field, we use Bixie as a material with one of our monsters. Whatever monster we special summon is unaffected by Skill Drain, since Bixie says it's unaffected by traps. That is extremely good when we can put pressure on the opponent. I'm having a Skill Drain on the side of the field, preventing the opponent from using their effects, and then we can Boxy on them on their turn, put card back to the deck, and then we can just destroy our Skill Drain if need be, synchro summon some more times, not using Bixie if we don't need to, because Skill Drain is no longer face up on the field, and attack for huge amounts of damage. Why isn't this deck considered Master Race? That's because the right person has not played this deck. I strongly feel that this deck can compete even now within the format, and I look forward to showing you guys some games doing so. With that being said, thank you guys for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Please like, comment, subscribe. Watch out for the Yang Zing videos coming out throughout this week, but most of all, enjoy.